Another artist involved in the new Classics Illustrated comics is veteran Bill Sienkiewicz. We've talked about Bill before for his work on Elektra Assassin, The New Mutants, and of course the brought-to-light graphic novel about the Iran-Contra affair. For his Classics Illustrated comic, Bill chose to do Herman Melville's whale tale Moby Dick, no relation to Philip K. Now Bill Sienkiewicz is about to release what might be the comic of the year for 1990. It's a 12-issue series called Big Numbers. The story was originally called the Mandelbrot set. It's a reference to an obscure branch of mathematics that deals with fractals. The fractals theory suggests that if you have something that's completely random, say a universe, and you start applying just a few rules to it, it will eventually order itself into something, as it apparently has.
Big Numbers, which used to be the Mandelbrot set, is basically, or as Alan would say, basically, a story of fractals and shopping malls, and how it's the order in chaos as a metaphor for life. And I think that Alan, having made sort of like shattered, you know, all tradition and broken so many barriers with Watchmen, is now dealing without the costumes, dealing with interactions of between characters and life. And I really feel that this is non-genre.
The latest issue of the Comics Journal has a scathing review of First Comics Classics Illustrated stories, but reviewer Carter Schultz does recommend Rick Gary's interpretation of Great Expectations. Schultz writes, "It's the best. Deft and charming, though giddy, almost a souffle made from Dickens' mutton." That's Charles Dickens for you trivia buffs. Rick Gary's currently adapting Emily Brandt's Wuthering Heights. He regularly draws for the New York Sunday Times Book Review and also contributes to the Junior Flaming Carrot Patrol. Go figure. Now he's made his own animated film. It's called Murder at the Hollywood Hotel. It's a mystery story written and drawn by Rick Gary.
The young lady who lived in the room next to mine was an aspiring tragedian. I could hear her moans and sobs through the wall on many a night. Her name was Miss Maud Beveridge, and she was never at a loss for male companionship. She kept fairly regular company, I could see, with an assistant director from Art Craft Pictures. I observed her from afar, marveling at her mercurial charm, her eccentric energy. Sometimes we would exchange a brief but cordial greeting in the hallway or on the elevator. One morning in mid-November, I was awakened by a policeman at my door. The entire hotel, in fact, was teeming with officers of the Los Angeles Police Force. They informed me, to my shock, Miss Beveridge had been murdered in her room the previous night by persons as yet unknown. Her door, I was told, had been securely locked and bolted from the inside. In the middle of the floor, they found poor Miss Beveridge, lifeless. A letter opener sunken between her shoulder blades. The windows were also latched. Quite a mystery indeed. The bathroom window, however, was found slightly ajar, but it seemed far too small for a person to fit through. Moreover, it was positioned a full 50 feet from the sidewalk below. The letter opener, it turned out, was the victim's own. It yielded no other information. Her room showed no sign of disturbance whatsoever. The only article which seemed out of place was this exotic-looking medallion, later found to be a coin from the nation of Morocco. One poetic resident of the hotel speculated that a malevolent vapor had coalesced out of the ether to commit the foul deed. The authorities were quite naturally interested in my own room, since it adjoined Miss Beveridge's. I regretted that I could be of no help, for I'd retired early the previous evening and slept soundly for the entire night. I had a feeling they didn't quite believe me, for they searched my room thoroughly, in hopes, apparently, of finding a hidden door of some sort in the wall. That afternoon, I was questioned further at police headquarters in downtown Los Angeles. Quite humiliating, I assure you, for an unsophisticated youth from Kansas. Well, after that experience, I lost all interest in the moving pictures as a career and took the first available train back to Great Bend. There, I found work as assistant manager at Leakey Brothers department store and since then, I believe I've lived a productive and useful life. Oh, yes. I read in the papers about a year later that one of Miss Beveridge's suitors, that assistant director at Artcraft, had confessed to her murder. He said that he had stood on a chair outside her door and propelled the letter opener, which he had removed on a previous visit, through the narrow opening of the transom by means of a specially made blowgun, an implement he had purchased the year before on a visit to the nation of Morocco. As to his motivation, he said he felt that a woman of Miss Beveridge's rarefied nature was too fine and pure to exist upon this corrupt planet.
I'm starting to lose you, friends. Ground control is jamming me. They're trying to grab their signal back. They can slow me down, but they can't stop me.
Stand by for a short membership break. Our volunteers are waiting to take your call at 483-5555 in the Toronto dialing area, or toll free at 1-800-668-1414 from anywhere else.
Prisoners of Gravity, the greatest program in the history of television. The host is
Channel 50.